a meet and greet, whatever. One, we couldn't see her because there was no seating, so everyone stood.
Oh, that is an example of she wasn't really on a stage, and so you couldn't see her.
No, first of all, she was on a platform that is, 6 inches off the floor?
Maybe. And she's 2'6", so bitch, you couldn't see her over all the queen's hair.
So if you'd have put like some rows of chairs, we would have had a perfect view.
Yep.
And I wasn't going to stand for anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care. I'm sitting. I'm old. My legs are tired. I want to sit.
Girl.
And so, but we got to hear her,
yes.
and then we got to meet her and get our picture taken with her, and she was lovely, and it was like, hi, snap, 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 get out.
I love my picture with her. I'm like, girl, I look stunting.
I'm sure you do. I look wet.
Yeah.
My hair is soggy. It's not my best photo.
Not the T-bitch.
But whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm standing next to Bianca Del Rio, so I don't care.
Kiss my ass.
Who I love.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Same.
She is one of, but probably my favorites.
Agreed.
From the drag. If you just look at the winners, but I was looking at the franchise.
If I look at all of Drag Race, I think Bianca is in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, love her.
I love
her.
Yep.
Oh my god! Speaking of Drag Race,
I don't want to.
I was mistaken. I thought that you were disappointed at the winner.
No,
I was talking
not.
to Tu Esposa. Said that what it was you were disappointed that you learned who it was before you watched.
Correct.
So you still haven't watched it.
I still haven't watched it. No, but
it's phenomenal.
I bet I will watch it. I just didn't feel the need. We were going to powwow that night, girl. I didn't feel the need to come over here and watch Drag Race.
Right.
Anyway,
or as my daughter called it, the cow pow.
The cow pow. That's not right, but so close.
She called it the pow pow, the cow pow.
I love her so much.
And today it was. I said, "Are you going to talk? You're going to tell them at school what we did this week?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm going to tell them we went to the powwow."
Okay.
Oh, you got it
girl,
right,
the powwow. Okay.
And I said, one thing to remember, baby girl: there are no princesses.
No, never say that.
Because that's what she was, because she thought that one girl that we were so taken by was a princess.
Okay, just so we went to a powwow in Vancouver this week for like Pacific Northwest tribes, and it was beautiful and it was fun, and there was this dancer, and all the dancers did great. Everyone did amazing. The drumming was beautiful. It was great. Emotional first powwow.
Very moving.
Yes, first powwow in a very long time. So elders were sad, but moved. They were moved. Anyway, there was this one dancer. And she danced Fancy Shawl, and she danced Jingle Dress, which you should just look that up. But she did both so powerfully and so beautifully, and she was elegant in the way she moved. And yeah, I was like stunned.
I was so struck by her. And my thing was really, I'm watching this girl, this young woman. I don't know how old she is.
Sure.
Anywhere between 15 and 30. I don't know how old she was. Beautiful woman. But it was her face. I mean, her dancing was perfection.
Fluid and stunning.
But her face. Because you could see the younger girls, and even some of the older ones, it was like, okay, I'm stepping, I'm going this direction, I'm moving this way, here's where I turn. You could see all kind of that direction in their face. This woman, she was so in the moment, in the dance, in the thing that I was like...
It was strong. It was strong, that stoic beauty. Oh, God, she killed it. Yep. Anyway.
I know. Oh, my God. I just looked at the time. We have to take a little break.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye. So no, I was not upset that who won Drag Race. I was very stoked. I had my order in which I wanted them to win, and she was number one. So I was stoked.
Well, the two that I wanted, we're not going to spoil anything in case you haven't seen it. And if you haven't seen it, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Good Lord, it was days ago. The top two that I wanted were the top two.
So, same.
I mean, the only other person, there was only one of those five that I was like, she could also be there. But those, I thought, showed the most promise, soul, heart, everything. And so I wanted them there.
Yeah.
And so you know me, I love the Drag Race. I've watched every season, every city, every country, everything.
Everything.
I am a little behind, however, in the new season of España.
Yeah.
Because here's my problem.
Tell me. You don't speak Spanish?
I don't speak Spanish. I'm learning Spanish. I have been for almost a year now. But I'm not fluent by any means. But part of watching Drag Race is watching these queens and the things that they do and their faces and their costumes. It's harder to do when you're reading subtitles. Right. So with España and Holland and Italy and all the ones I've watched, I have to watch them twice. So I'll watch them and read all of the subtitles.
Yeah.
and then I'll watch them again so that way I can read. I don't have to read every subtitle. I know what's happening.
Sure.
And that way I can see kind of more of the things in their faces, their makeup, their hair, their whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's funny. I watch everything with subtitles. I watch everything with subtitles.
I've watched movies for years with subtitles, and TV shows and stuff, but it's not as crucial for me, personally. Para me. It's not as crucial that I see every expression. But, drag queens. I want to see every... I mean, they're throwing shade with the raise of an eyebrow, as you well know.
What?
Because you learned how to do that when you were 5. You were already raising an eyebrow and rolling them eyes like
Pursing
a professional.
Your lips. Yep.
You're like, I'm sorry, did you just look...
The amount of times I roll my eyes in a day still is like an astronomical amount.
Well,
all
right,
day.
but it is some good solid exercise. Your eye muscles will never be weak.
Never, girl. They tired sometimes.
Yes. Yes, I imagine
Some of the shit I have to see, girl, I'm like, I'm tired. I can't.
I'm tired. The world makes me tired. People make me tired.
Yes.
Stupid people make me tired.
Bitch.
And do you know what else has made me tired, which is our topic today, which is COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
It's COVID.
I didn't get it, knock wood.
Well, I mean, I hope so. I wanted to take an antibody test because, like, girl, probably got it. I mean, maybe I was asymptomatic, whatever. But I've had,
that I know of, I never got.
Sure,
it.
yeah.
I never had... It was weird because the only thing I had even close to a symptom was closer to the beginning. Girl, I love my Diet Coke.
Sure.
I drink my caffeine-free Diet Coke, which is really just a can of chemicals.
Yeah.
Because I have no other...
We all have our vices,
Right, I have
girl.
my vice. It's caffeine-free Diet Coke because I can't have caffeine because I have a little heart
And if that's the worst thing you're doing, caffeine-free Diet Coke, shut your mouth, girl.
I know. Well... Although I do like a little edible now and again, but that's
oh my god,
that's something I can thank you for.
How dare you?
Anyway,
you're welcome.
Yeah. Anyway, towards the beginning of it, one day I picked up my can of Diet Coke. I went to take a drink, and I go,
"Ew,
this tastes weird. It doesn't have any flavor." And it was weird. And I know this won't make any sense, but on the front of my tongue, it tasted like nothing. As it got to the back of my head, I'm like, I get a little bit of the taste.
Sure.
And it was Diet Coke and soda water, which is the only other thing other than water, and occasional coffee with no caffeine that I drink. And I was like, why? Nothing. But food tasted fine.
Sure.
And I know a lot of people are like, you lose your sense of taste. I still had a full-on sense of smell as far as I know.
Yeah.
I could still tell when my children have BO, so, whatever.
Girl.
But they're that age.
Yeah.
Hormones have punched them in the face real hard.
Yeah.
Anyhow... But it was just that. It was like that little bit of lack of taste. And I was like, what's going on?
WTF.
Right. But that was it. I didn't have anything else. I wasn't sick. I didn't... Whatever.
Yeah.
But there are so many other ways
that
it affected. And what's interesting to me, kind of when this all started, was one day, for some bizarre reason, I was watching the news. Because, girl, I don't watch the news.
No.
It's too depressing. And it takes me into that whole spiral of sadness and what have you.
Yeah.
Because they never report anything good.
No.
And it was in December of 19.
Okay.
And they were like, there's this new virus that has been, spotted here, blah, blah, and it's been... we believe the start of it is at one of the wet markets in China.
Okay.
And I was like... what the hell's a wet market? And then I saw it. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. One of the markets where they actually have the boats on the river and they're selling. Okay. And I was like, what? And then they were showing pictures of what the virus itself looks like. And why it's called corona is because it means crown. And it's a little spiky doodad, whatever. And I was like, okay. And then they were like, this particular virus it's mutated because a coronavirus is not a new thing.
No.
But this particular mutation was.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it and how they've found that it's spreading very, very quickly. And I was just like, oh, God. That means, it could... And I can tell you I had no idea what it meant.
Right.
Because even me going, oh, my God, it could spread really quickly around the world. Because world travel is so common now.
Yeah.
And countries were closing their borders to people coming in. And it's still... not enough countries close their borders and not quickly enough and what have you.
Huh?
But I was like, oh no, this could be terrible.
Yeah.
No freaking clue.
That was
and moments later, we went on what was our last vacation. We went to San Diego the day after Christmas of 2019. It was fine, lovely. but I was still kind of hanging over my head as like,
Yeah.
what's going to
Weird.
happen?
Yep.
And then, as it's creepy crawling into the United States and killing people and doing whatever, I was like, oh God, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing things on the news where, like, you're seeing, like, big cities in Italy and in, like, France.
And there was nobody
where
outside.
there's no one.
Oh, so weird, right?
No one.
So
And
uncomfortable.
I'm like, what? And they're
Yeah.
like, well, they have shut down the entire... I'm like, how can they shut down a whole city? Because their governments work. That's how.
Yep.
And so it just freaked me out. And then kind of for me, where it hit home is when my last day of work in March of 2020 was... I went to work. I didn't have very many clients because most everybody had canceled because everybody was getting freaked out now.
Yep.
And I work in a very busy neighborhood. There was not a car on the street.
Crazy. Yep.
Not a person on the streets. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like some weird old movie, you know, where you like, I'm the only person living. Everyone else has already died.
Yep.
You know, kind of end of the world stuff. And that was the last day I worked for 3 months. They closed my, you know, made the hairdressers and lots of businesses closed. I was closed the entirety of spring.
Yep.
Because we reopened the first day of summer.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that was how it first affected me. What about you?
So because I work in basically food, right? We stayed open. My experience with COVID was very different. It was very scary, but because I work in there's like a drive-through and a lobby and people can sit there and eat and drink, we went from being like low skill workers, right? Because it's like if you work at like any sort of fast food or often restaurants, people think of it as low skill. You're often told it is low skill.
Right.
And then we went from that to being essential workers, where our business, we were busier than we ever were prior to the pandemic. So where everything else shut down and there was nobody anywhere, they were circling Starbucks. Do you know what I mean? Nonstop, all day. And we have like what we call peak. So it's like a couple hours in the morning right before people go to work.
Right.
It's like the busiest time. Peak lasted all day. Peak went all fucking day. And we didn't have a lobby open, so it was just drive-through.
Do you think it was just people desperate to get out of their house? And
Partly, people wanted routine, people wanted something to do. And we realized, like, that was their thing to do, was to get out of the house and get Starbucks. Because people still, like, were working, people, or they're unemployed, and there was all that benefit, you know, there was extra benefit. But people had nothing else to do, and kids weren't really in school, and distance learning was a thing, but, like, it wasn't that, you know what I mean? I don't think people were overwhelmed. But people were at my store all the time. Starbucks took really good care of their employees, though. And so I took, like, 6 weeks off just because. They were like, if you feel uncomfortable, you can leave for a certain amount of time, and we'll pay you. And I was all, toodaloo, bitch, like, I'm out. So I went and hung out at home. I have asthma and allergies, and at one point I couldn't breathe, and I was phlegmy, and I couldn't catch my breath, and I called my doctor, and she was like, no, girl, you just have allergies, and it's just, like, the worst time to have it. But I thought I had COVID. And then wildfires happened, and this was in 2020, where the air...
oh, God, it was the year from hell.
Yes, girl, the air quality went... It disappeared, bitch. It was hazardous. Like, if you kept looking it up, it's usually the range, and I don't know what this is, but the AQI is somewhere between, like, 30 and 70 in the Pacific, or in the Portland metro area. It was over 550, and it was hazardous. I remember, like, screenshotting this and posting it to social media, being like, why am I at work right now? Like, we were a couple miles from the fires, and a lot of my staff had relocated, right? Like, they had to evacuate, and we're still having them work, and we were open, and it was chaotic, and there's a pandemic going on. This was the same time during all the protests, so there was, like, tear gas in the air in Portland.
God, right.
And then, because where I lived, in Oak Grove, you could smell the tear gas in the air from downtown. You could see it. It's hazy. Yes, girl, because it's not that far.
No, it's not.
And so that was happening. And then it was all smoky, we couldn't breathe, so people were, like... And I'm like, what happens now? Like, hospitals are already overwhelmed, you know? But COVID affected everything. But some things, though, I say this, it was scary, but some things that changed that I was like, okay. Like, curbside pickup, limiting people into places, wearing masks, social distancing. Like, I went back to school because I was like, well, nothing else is going on. Like, what else am I going to do? So I went back to school in 2020 during all of it. it really changed how people thought, right? And that's what I loved about the pandemic